music custom made for this environment.
This is Trunk Nation with Eddie Trunk.
Yeah, I love him.
What's going on, you guys? How are you? Happy Wednesday as we settle in to hang and talk rock music for the next couple hours. Hope you're all having a good Wednesday, and thank you for joining me for some of it here on Trunk Nation. Faction Talk 103 or the SiriusXM app on demand anytime you want. As you know, a great conversation yesterday with Wolfgang Van Halen. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I certainly did. We talked about a lot of stuff. And, of course, the one that's, making the rounds, as they say, is, any little tidbit on the hypothetical potential Van Halen album, which, again, is expected, and I totally understand. But as I said yesterday, I knew that Wolf did not want to delve deeply into that, and we got what we got from him. But, again, any tidbit you're going to get on Van Halen or unreleased stuff or anything is always going to lead the charge with people in, when they hear things. That's the world we're in now. There's a lot of just gets chewed up, spit out, turned into something else half the time. But it is what it is. It's like I said, it's the world we're in now. But there was so much more to that conversation yesterday with Wolf. So I hope if you see the headlines, you dig deeper and actually listen to the actual interview. We'll have video of that up for you as well that I'll post soon. The way we try to roll things out, as you probably have figured out, is we always want to take care of the subscribers first. So you guys that listen live, of course, get it live. And then, there's a period of time where it's exclusive to those with subscriptions to listen on the app. And then after that, few weeks, we'll roll it out as a podcast so the world can hear it, because you can only get SiriusXM in the U.S. or Canada. And around that time, I'll also put video on the YouTube channel. So this way it makes we take care of the people that are the subscribers first and foremost, and they get all the stuff live or exclusively for a while. And before we roll out some of it, certainly not all of it. I mean, a lot of it we don't put out publicly, but that's how it kind of works as far as our rollout. So on some of this video content, Zakk Wylde, Wolf, there's a few others. We'll roll that out somewhere around a week to 2 weeks after you hear it when it airs live here on the radio over on YouTube. We have, so again, listen to Wolf. I was in the car last night when the replay was on, because this show replays at night Pacific time. I think it's 8 to 10 p.m., so it's a decent time. And there, I happened to get out of the car. I had dinner last night with some friends, and I'm getting in the car driving home, and the radio just happened to be on 103, and I heard a bit of the replay of the interview with Wolf from earlier in the day, and I thought it was really interesting what he had to say about the Van Halen records, the ones he's not part of, his two favorites from each era. And if you didn't hear that from the Roth era, all right, he definitely said Fair Warning, and we talked about Fair Warning. And I believe he said 1984. I told him to discount the first record because that's obviously the one that started it all. But the Hagar era, he had For Unlawful and Balance, which I thought was really interesting. And I actually agree with that. And I was really happy to hear him give Balance some love, because I think that's a pretty underrated record, as we talked about with Wolf yesterday. I think 5150 song for song is the best songs, but there's some production stuff on 5150 that's very mid-80s. And OU812 I always thought was just, it's some stuff okay, but a little light at times, and production-wise I don't love that one either. But so I was kind of in agreement with them, certainly on the Hagar period, but it's kind of odd because Balance is a record that it did. I mean, it just was not a big record in America. There's really no hit on it in America. And it's a record that there's just people just don't know a lot of those songs. And I saw that firsthand when Sammy did one or two of them on his Best of All Worlds tour. I mean, he did the Seventh Seal every show initially, and I thought it was great, but it was a tune out to most of the audience. I was in the crowd. I could see what was going on. So, there's that never-ending battle that we talk about constantly, where if you're a hardcore fan and you know the catalogs, you want to hear these songs, but artists cannot sell it live to the mainstream. Just no way. A couple things to tell you as well. I watched a little bit of the Bon Jovi thing that a couple people pointed out to me that is on Paramount Plus. That is a Tony Robbins, I don't know what Tony Robbins' title is, life coach. I'm not sure what it is, but Tony Robbins had this hour and a half with Bon Jovi, interviewing John and having songs from the band on a set. And of course, that was of interest because we know that Bon Jovi are going to come back into action after John's well-documented vocal issues. And he talked to him about all that. And, they played. And there were a lot of people that were wondering what he was going to sound like, given the last time he toured, it was not good. And then he shut it down. And then the documentary about the band with all the vocal issues in that doc, since all that, John has done one show that was private and they didn't allow cell phones, so there's no video or audio of it. It was in Nashville. I believe just the one. So there's a lot of questions about this, given that he is going to go out this year. And I believe dates next year as well. Look, I didn't watch it all because it was too long and I had to get ready to do this. But, he talks to John for a while. I jumped around during the interview. John talks about the vocal issues. And they did 2-3 songs. I saw some of It's My Life. I mean, look, was it okay? Yes. Was it great? No. Was it awful? No. So, is it passable, doable? Yeah. I mean, by comparison to what some of these other acts are doing out there on the road, it was more than acceptable. And he's getting a lot of help from the guys in the band who all sing, especially Phil X, who sings very well, helping him out, which is fine. And to me, it looked legit and real. It didn't look like there was any fakery going on. There were times I almost felt for him, though, where you could just see his face as he's going for these notes that, some of that stuff was very high. Even if he didn't have vocal problems, he'd have a hard time reaching it. It was light years better than what he sounded like on the last tour before he had to shut it down. So, to me, the real question is, does he get better from here? Does he regress from here? And can he hold up doing an hour and a half, 2-hour show, 10, 12 shows and 15 nights? Those are the big questions. But to do 3-4 songs on a produced TV show where they could obviously take the audio and mix it and tweak it a little bit, it was fine. If you think it's going to be 1988 again, you're kidding yourself. So that was my take on that. The other thing that I watched that I came across on YouTube is Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson, I guess, are in England right now. And they did an interview with it's kind of like a media conglomerate in the UK called Planet Rock. They have radio stations, they have magazines, they used to at least. There's, online stuff. And it's a British, rock conglomerate, if you will. So they had video and audio of Alex and Geddy in studio. I think it was just a couple days ago, if that. And the interviewer, it was interesting. It was in England, but the interviewer was clearly American, didn't have a British accent. So I guess he's a transplant or something. I'm not sure. But anyway, he was speaking to them, and they talked quite a bit about the Rush stuff coming up. Now, Geddy and Alex have done very little in terms of press here in America. Hopefully that changes. And of course, I hope to talk to them soon. We had Alex on many times for his latest projects. So hopefully we'll be able to do something with them together or individually as the tour gets closer. But there was a lot of good info in this interview. And I'll give you the bullet points. First of all, they are going to play 2 sets, no opening act, and it will be roughly an hour to an hour and 10 minutes each set. So all in, the performance will be around 2.5 hours. They'll take an intermission between sets. The other thing that was really interesting that I think is going to make many of you guys happy, because it's always a talking point about set lists and changing songs. And there's very few bands that can do that can play their catalog and not lose the audience, because they're not built on a hit single. Their fans pretty much know all their stuff. And Rush and their fan base is certainly one of those bands. Dream Theater would be another. To some degree, Metallica would be another. And I'm sure in the progressive community, it's even more prevalent, but I don't know that world all that well. But anyway, Geddy and Alex said that they currently have about 25 songs down, and they are going to get to a point where they hope to have a total of 50 songs down that they are comfortable with playing, because they plan on changing the set list at least 50% every couple nights. So what they were talking about is, and they're aware of this, and they're certainly aware of their fanaticism from their fan base, that Rush fans are likely going to go to more than one show. And Rush fans will travel to other cities and other countries. And as you know, if you looked at the touring schedule for Rush, in most cities, in all the cities, they're playing at least more than one night. In some, they're playing like 4 or 5 nights. Or more, I think. I didn't look at it. I don't have it in front of me. I don't know what it's loaded out at now. But with awareness of that, and knowing that fans are going to come to more than one show in the various cities, they are going to change out maybe half of their set from one night to the next. So that is super cool. That is a band that is tuned in and understands and knows their fan base, and that is a band that is willing to put in the work to want to do other songs in their catalog. Because that's the hard part about it too, that nobody talks about. Yeah, sure, you not have to have a fan base that knows it, but the other side of it is you got to be willing to put the work in. And so many of these bands are on autopilot and are quite frankly lazy. And they don't want to rehearse anything outside of the same 20 songs they've been doing for 40 years. Because it's easy. They also talked about the fact how challenging this is, that now that they're older, it is, they are realizing how hard it is to play some of the stuff that they played and wrote, especially taking like a 10-year layoff. They said their new drummer, Annika, is about 20 songs she's comfortable with at this point. They said that, interestingly, she was not a Rush fan. The only song she really knew coming in was Tom Sawyer. And, she's not only has to get up to speed with learning how to play the stuff, but learning the material at all because much of it she did not know. She did not, she's not a big Rush fan. They said that in each of the two sets, there will be moments that will honor Neil Peart. They said that Annika will play the stuff, the parts that have to be played exactly the right way to honor Neil, but there will be some moments where she'll be able to do her own thing. They talked about auditioning her, how they called her to come to Canada. They played with her a couple times. They did like a week, and then they just realized she was the person for the job. So it was a really interesting interview. If you go onto YouTube, I'm sure it'll pop up. Search Planet Rock, Getty Alex or something if you'd like to see it. It's about 20 minutes long, but there's a lot of really good content in it. Obviously, they did it because earlier this week they announced shows next year in the UK and other parts of the world. And then the other thing I took from it, to my point about, Alex did not want to do this. He did not want to tour initially. They just talked about the fact that they started playing. When Alex was on with us, he said that they would get together and play once a week. And then they said, let's play a couple Rush songs, and it just progressed from there. And they talked about the fact that they just had a conflicted relationship with Rush after Neil died and what they should do and if they should play Rush songs. And then they realized it's their stuff too, and it's their skin, and it's what they do, and they decided to go do it again. They did not talk about if they would do music. It was interesting, though, and I don't know the interviewer's name, but I give him credit because I was, when I listen to other people do interviews, I'm always like, in my mind, because it's what I do so much, I'm thinking, I would ask this, I want to hear this, and sometimes the interviewer does what's in my mind, and sometimes they don't. I'm not saying I have all the right questions. I'm just saying what triggers in my mind that I want to know as a fan. And there was a point in the interview where Getty said, I've been writing, and I'm pretty sure, I got to go back and watch it. He says, I've been writing lyrics a lot. And they move on. And to his credit, the interviewer comes back to that and says, hey, wait a minute, you said writing lyrics. Is there new music coming? Or are you writing music? And Getty immediately goes, oh, no, I meant writing books. Now, I don't know if that was a slip or not, because I'm pretty sure Getty said lyrics. And then when he was questioned about it, knowing it could lead to talk of a new album, he diffused it by saying books. So that was, my take. Now, again, I don't know. But, these bands are so guarded sometimes in what they do and don't want to say at any given time that could have been, it could be something there. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but I found that interesting. One other note about the interview that was also interesting, because Alex Lifeson has been pretty open about his health issues, arthritis, etc. They reveal in the interview that they have gone to a health clinic somewhere in, I believe, England or somewhere in Europe, and that they were just there, and they had gone last year as well, where they are being worked on in this health clinic of some sort for their various ailments in their current age. And they say they feel 100% better, and they say that if they did not visit this health facility, that they probably would not be touring because it's helped them so much. Exercise, diet, various physical ailments, that this clinic, wherever it is, has been the key that's enabled them to be wanting to tour and go on the road for whatever treatments they're getting there. So I thought that was really interesting. So there's some great stuff in there. And they also talk about the keyboard player, which we announced the other day. We talked about it. His name is Lauren. First name is Lauren. And Getty said that he saw him play with The Who. And that's where he decided to get him. But Getty was clear that he also will play some keys in the show. Even though they will tour for the first time ever with a fourth member, Geddy on certain songs still will play some keyboards in addition. So he's not abandoning the keyboards completely. So great stuff in there. Great updates on what's going on and what's coming with Rush. And we know that they're going to be active this year and at least next year at this point, and we'll see where it goes from there. And again, I'm hoping to get my crack at the guys sometime in the near future. Joel's just telling me now most cities on the Rush Tour are getting 2 shows. There's 4 shows in one city. That's the longest stretch. But the cool thing is, if you're going to back-to-back shows on the Rush dates, you're going to get, according to what they're saying right now, like 50% different set. They also talk about many of their old crew members are coming back, their old lighting directors coming back. So it was really good. Good stuff in there. And they seem very happy and excited to be doing this. And it seems like Annika's working out great, and they're real happy with her. And they're not only getting her up to speed, but they're getting themselves up to speed because they've not done this in a long time. Okay, so look, there's 2 huge stories today. And in a few minutes, we are going to talk to Jesse James Dupree of Jackal for a few minutes. And then on the other side of that interview, we will dig more deeply into both of these big stories. And I will let you guys call in, of course, and comment if you'd like. And by the way, tomorrow, just a quick scheduling update. Tomorrow and Friday are both all new shows, just pre-recorded. So today, the next live show will be, after today, the next live show is Monday. Right when I get off the air, I'm flying to Boston for that charity event tomorrow. And then flying back from Boston on Friday. So all new, just recorded tomorrow and Friday. Live shows return on Monday. Schedule-wise, tomorrow you will get the premiere of the interview with John Taylor of Power Station and Duran Duran. With that, we are also going to add in an encore of my interview with Alice Cooper from November, talking about these shows he's doing in Vegas with Chris Angel. So the timing on that is good because that starts in about a week. Alice is actually here in Vegas right now working with Chris on that. So tomorrow's show is like 70% new, but we're going to bring you to fill it out, the encore of of Alice from last November. But I hope you enjoy John Taylor tomorrow, something a little different for you, and it was a great conversation. We have video of that I'll put out in a week or two. And then on Friday, mailbag stuff and the premiere of a brand new interview as well with Steve Vai and Joe Satriani together for like 45 minutes to an hour. Great stuff in there. I recorded it yesterday. And also the mailbag Satch Vai interview, and to close the show on Friday, the world premiere of a brand new Satch Vai song called Dancing. So great shows for you, great guests to close out the week. It's been a hell of a week, lot going on, and that's what the schedule looks like. So all new tomorrow and Friday, just pre-recorded as I travel, but back live with you guys on Monday, and I hope you enjoy the premieres of those interviews and the premiere of the new Satch Vai song. So, you're saying to yourself, what are the big stories today? What is it that you're going to dig into after the interview with Jesse in a few minutes? Well, the 2 big stories today are that Metallica have announced the long-rumored, long-speculated residency here in Vegas at Sphere. By the way, technically, everyone calls it the Sphere. Technically, it's just called Sphere. Kind of like Scorpions, you never see the in front of it, even though everybody says the Scorpions. So, look, this has been talked about for like a year. The band has admitted they want to do it. They made no they've made no reservations about they've been transparent. They've been wanting to do this, and now they're doing it. And now Metallica has the distinction of being the first heavy rock band to play Sphere. And the dates were announced today. The residency has a title called Life Burns Faster, which of course is a Metallica lyric. They're going to be playing, they're kind of taking a page out of what the Eagles are doing. The Eagles are playing just Friday, Saturdays in their residency. Metallica is going to do Thursday, Saturday shows. Metallica shows are obviously way higher energy than the Eagles, so those guys need a day off between, I'm sure. I'm sure that's the logic there. So it's going to be Thursday, Saturdays, every Thursday, Saturday in October. And here's the other cool thing, speaking of set lists. They are not going to repeat songs on the two shows each weekend. Talk about commitment. Talk about serving your fans. Talk about putting in the work. We saw Metallica do this with their M72 tour in stadiums. They are continuing to do it in the residency in Sphere. So if you come into Vegas for the weekend to go to these Metallica shows, and you're going to go to both Thursday and Saturday, you're going to see totally different set lists each night. That is amazing. There's a pre-sale of tickets on March 3rd, and there is a general sale on March 6th, and there are packages where you can buy both shows on the weekend and go both nights. I'm going to let you in on a little tip on Sphere if you've never been there and you're hyped up about this, as I imagine most people would be, and I am as well. And of course, I've been there a bunch of times. You do not want to be too close. If you want to really take in all that that venue has to offer, you want to be somewhere mid-level in the middle. When I went to U2 there, I was on the floor, which was cool, but you couldn't see the stage, and they had graphics on the stage that I never saw. The other thing about if you're standing on the floor, the seats in Sphere, because not only the visuals, but the audio is insane. Every seat has a bass speaker in the seat that rattles you while you sit there. If you're standing on the floor, you're not going to get that experience. And if you're in the seats, which the place is mostly seats, and you're going to stand for the whole show, which most people are going to do at a metal show, you're also going to lose that experience of the bass in the seats. Just a tip. We'll talk more about it as it gets closer. But obviously, this is great stuff. October, and look, I would be utterly shocked if they don't add more shows. The Eagles started with a month's worth of shows, and I think they've been doing this for a year and a half at this point. So once you build out your programming for that venue, you could just keep going in there as much as you want. My expectation is that these shows sell out immediately and you see more continue to be rolled out. But right now, they are just announcing these 8 shows in October, every Thursday, Saturday. We'll talk more about this in a bit. And the other news, and I'm going to try to keep my blood pressure intact, and again, we will dive into way more on this in a bit. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees have been announced. I didn't even know this was coming today. We just did our snub list. Of the 17 acts that we will now vote on that are nominated, if you saw my post on social media, you know what I'm saying. Of the 17 acts nominated, being generous, 7 of them are rock, and that's being generous. So more than 50% of what the Hall of Fame is nominating for induction is not even close to the definition of rock music. This thing is become, I don't have the words for it right now. And I can't, I gotta, it's beyond belief. Just when you think we're turning some corners, just when you think we're making some progress, it's unbelievable. So I'm going to hold that because I'm going to do a quick call with Jesse James Dupree. So let me talk to him and get him on the phone. And then we will talk to you, and we'll dive more into these two major stories today on this Wednesday on Trunk Nation. Metallica finally announcing Sphere, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame being anything but rock and roll. All right, let's get a break. We'll come back a few minutes with Jesse, and then we'll get into all this other stuff as well. We'll be right back on Trunk Nation.
Bonfire with Big J. Okerson and Robert Kelly.
Buddy, I wore a leather jacket in Killbox. It was the worst decision I've ever made.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Thank God I couldn't zip it.
You're a cow.
I couldn't. Someone was like, you should zip that. I go, dude, I can't.
I think somebody had to cut that off of you to make a leather jacket.
The Bonfire, weeknights at 5 p.m. Eastern on Faction Talk or anytime on the SiriusXM app.
I'm Katie Nolan, and I host a show on SiriusXM Mad Dog Sports Radio called Fan Service. It's a show that is as much yours as it is mine. It's all about conversation. I'll throw out some things that are on my mind, but it's really a space where you can ask about anything going on in the world of sports and pop culture.
Thank you for having a refreshing way of approaching sports media.
Fan Service with me, Katie Nolan. Weekdays at noon Eastern, only on Mad Dog Sports Radio Channel 82 in the car and on the SiriusXM app.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. He was in great health. Was out of nowhere. Had a stroke. And super hard, obviously, for the whole family. But my dad had life insurance. So even after he passed away, he was still able to provide for my mom. And of course, by extension, my brother and I. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com. Because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test. Just a few health questions. 10 minutes. You're covered. Your family is covered. You can get $2 million in coverage for $2 a day. That's a 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. We don't like to talk about death in our culture, but everyone's going to die. You are going to die. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/free. Rates may vary, billed monthly. Ethos.com/free.
Ready for big fun? Start for free at Chumba Casino. Sign up and enjoy a welcome bonus with gold coins and sweeps coins to explore hundreds of online social casino games, all from your phone. Spin, play, and discover something new whenever you feel like it, with no downloads needed. More games, more ways to play. Let's Chumba. Only available in permitted states. No purchase necessary. See terms and conditions for details. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21+.
Hi, I'm Todd Kinchin, retired NFL wide receiver. You work hard every day, yet your money just sits there while others keep growing theirs. That's frustrating. I know the feeling. Trying to trade on your own is stressful, time-consuming, and full of second-guessing. That's why I teamed up with TrueTrade. Their AI-powered platform trades for you automatically, efficiently. Even if you've never traded before, you can get started right away. And here's what makes TrueTrade different. When you download the TrueTrade app, they'll guarantee to fund each of your trading accounts with $50,000 or more in trading capital, so you can start building passive income without risking your own money or spending years trying to learn the market.
To take advantage of our offer and secure your $50,000 in funding, download the TrueTrade app today on iOS and Android, or go to TrueTrade.io. That's TrueTrade.io. TrueTrade, where technology earns for you. See terms.
Individual results may vary. There's no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. Invest wisely.
Your time is valuable. Your perspective should be too. The Economist cuts through the noise with the stories that truly shape your world.
Online scams are scarier, stranger, and bigger than they've ever been.
If Europeans really don't want kids, how are we supposed to keep our economies productive and maintain our standards of living?
How can you believe that a new regime won't crush you just like the previous one?
When the world's turned upside down, know which way is up. Read, watch, or listen to The Economist.
Now back to talking more of the bands and music you love.
That is exactly
what this is.
This is Trunk Nation
with Eddie Trunk.
Some great live radio. SiriusXM Faction Talk.
All right, we are back, and we are live talking rock with you here on Trunk Nation, Faction Talk 103, or the SiriusXM app. Lots to get to today, but we're going to take a few minutes here to talk to an old buddy who is, I'm sure, ramping up for a big year. He's always got a lot of big stuff going on, and one of those things which I know everyone's excited about, myself included, because I've been a part of this and hosted all of these or co-hosted all of them, and it's always been fun. In Gatlinburg, Tennessee, Mountain Music Festival. It's back after a year off, happening in Gatlinburg, August 21, 22, 23. Last time this happened a couple years ago, Jackal brought the house down, as they usually do, and I think I even helped him do so because I think I was out there with him doing carving up a bar stool or something like that, as is the norm at a Jackal show. Jesse James Dupree joins us. What's happening, brother?
Can you believe it, Eddie? Can you believe it? We're merging Mountain Fest with Jackal Stock again. I mean, it's just, it don't get any better than that. I'm excited about it.
Oh, man. You guys got some good history in that area of the country, right?
Yeah. Yeah, now Mountain Fest, Larry and the guys, they do such a great job. And it's basically a hometown show for us because, you're right in the heart of Dixie, the Southland. And when Larry called and said, I just want to throw this thing over the top, because they'd already made the announcement. We're the last addition to this lineup, and what a phenomenal lineup he's got. And he said, I just want to throw it over the top and just add some stank to it. And so that's what we're going to, as if Eddie Trunk don't bring the stank enough. So we're going to come and add to it. Which coast are you on, Eddie?
I am in Vegas at the moment, and I am headed to Boston the minute I get off the air. I'm hosting a charity event tomorrow in Boston, so I'm going from 70 and sunny to 20 and snow in a few hours.
I was going to say your team doesn't know you to not leave any man behind. I mean, they're freezing their ass off there in New York with 100 inches of snow, and you're sunbathing down by the pool at the Trunk Estate.
I'm too old for that shit. Just like, Jesse, when I, growing up in New Jersey my whole life, I never understood when I was a kid why so many people, when they got older, moved to Florida. And now I do. As a 61-year-old man, I totally understand it now. You get the hell away from that stuff, man.
Well, you've deserved it. And it's actually great because, I think it's, it actually makes your show better because, you're constantly where the action is. So that's great. And, we're excited to be added to Mountain Fest. Jackal's got a great summer lined up, and we're heading to Daytona Bike Week this weekend. This coming a week from Saturday, we'll be playing the Iron Horse and the legendary Iron Horse down in Daytona. And I'll be giving away the Rolling Daytona Harley-Davidson motorcycle. It'll be like my 30th Harley-Davidson motorcycle I've been giving away. And I'm just so proud to be working with the Harley-Davidson Motor Company. And so we're doing that. And then we head to the West Coast in March. We'll be out there. We're playing the Canyon Club and playing Jackal.com's got the whole run of dates, Fresno, and playing a really Agua, Casiento something casino. I'm drawing a blank on how they say the name, but it's right down there in south of LA. But great run of West Coast dates, and some of them are with Buck Cherry, so we're proud to have Buck Cherry on the lineup. And then we just lining on through the year. Of course, Sturgis, we got what a hell of a lineup in Sturgis. Mike Ballard and I we step back and just look at this lineup, and we're going, what have we done? It's we got Rob Zombie on one side, Journey, Jamie Johnson, Sammy Hagar. Brother. He's our brother, right? Sammy. Good God. Sure. And Sammy hasn't played Sturgis in like forever. So this is going to be mega. And we're actually going to be having some of his. We're up at the we have that Olympic-sized swimming pool up there on the Pappy Oil campground. So we're going to be featuring Sammy's rum up there along with the Jesse James bourbon. It's going to be great.
Yeah, man, you're always active out there. You're always on the road kicking ass. I know that. I mean, there's no place that better that Jackal thrives than us on these events and the live stage where the band is truly live and brings it 100% raw and real. And I respect and love that so much. Jesse, what do you guys, have you guys talked about anything with new music? You thinking about anything on that front?
Yeah, I got some ideas and stuff we're going to be messing with here coming up on this next run. And then, and this is completely something self-gratifying, but you got to understand, I think you just recently talked to Wolfgang, right?
Yeah, yesterday.
Wolfgang Van Halen. Yeah, and how incredible was it that Wolfgang got to play with his dad? And I know that everybody wants to argue about what Van Halen is and all this stuff. I set all that aside. When you're talking about a father-son, Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick gets to play with his son. Pete Townsend from The Who has his son in the band. And, and so I've actually had, the privilege of playing with Nigel, who's, by the way, he's got his own new release out now. If you haven't seen Find Out the Hard Way, and he's just got some great songs. Go to Nigel Dupree on YouTube or Spotify and check out his new couple of releases that he's got out. So proud of it. But to play with him and me and him and Roman, I've just been having fun doing that. And in this day, you know what shape the music business is in. The record industries are basically they're dead and gone. This is about just making music and loving what you do and new music, whatever it is. And so, we still love the process and we do it. But those days that were a moment in time, and how blessed are we that we got a chance to be in that moment where you had a John Collider pull up in a black limousine, sign you to a big contract and make all your dreams come true. Those were magic times that everything you and I stand on came from. That was the romantic era of the music business. And now, we're playing the torch for it, and we're looking at some of these new bands that are coming out that are carrying that torch and playing straight up to guitar, bass, and drums. Celebrating the fundamentals of rock and roll. And again, I don't want to overanalyze it, but I love playing with my son. So I've got some stuff that I'm working on that with Nigel and Roman that we did, and I'm excited about that. And then I'm going to look to do some fun stuff with Jackal, and there's no time, no clock ticking. If I can do whatever we want to do.
Yeah, and we should mention, man, you put out some great solo stuff not too long ago, including that song that you wrote with Brian Johnson, man, which was killer. People should know about that if they don't already.
Yeah, there were 3 tracks on the Breathing Fire album. That 3 tracks that I, collaborated with Brian Johnson, which is what an honor. And it happened so organically. He's one of those guys where, he'll be out to, I try to leave him alone when he's touring, and I'm not, wearing him out, and I hear from him and periodically, and we just always stay in touch. But it's just so cool. He'll call us, "What are you doing?" And I'll say, "Well, I'm working on. I got some stuff I'm working on." I said, "I got one that's got your name all over it." And he'll say, "Send it down here." And next thing you know, we're working on writing it together and stuff. He's just one of those kind of guys, just awesome. But yeah. The last album, Breathing Fire, what a fun record, and just again celebrating those fundamentals. And there were some other songs that I had left over from that I just didn't get a chance to finish, and it was just it wasn't a prioritization of the songs. It was just a matter of time. I'm doing so much fun stuff with Harley Davidson with all the Rolling USA campaigns. We just finished up Rolling Daytona. I'll be giving the bike away. I have 10 qualifiers on stage from all over the country. These 10 people come. And you know what? Matter of fact, so it's a Mountain Fest. So we're doing in what we're talking about here in Gatlinburg, right? And what day is that? September? Is that right?
You're playing August 22nd. The event is 21, 22, and 23. You're on Saturday, 22nd.
Yep. Okay. So we're doing this in August. So check this out. You can go into your local participating Harley dealership starting in like the next week or so and register to win a trip to Laconia, New Hampshire, a brand new Harley Davidson motorcycle, so many other cool things that were given away, including VIP for Mountain Fest. and swag bags, and I'm going to throw in like a guitar or something. So we're doing some really cool stuff. Harley Davidson Motor Company giving away all kind of great stuff, and we're marrying the two together here with Mountain Fest. So you can go in to any of your participating Harley dealership in the next week here when the Rolling Laconia kicks in. Go in and register for that, and we got the packages for the Mountain Fest. It's going to be. I mean, I'm telling you, the Mountain Fest is going to be a good one because we're going to keep adding to it, and we're going to celebrate what I call it Jackal Stock, but I'm fine for everybody to call it Mountain Fest. It's okay.
Well, it's actually called the Mountain Music Festival, and it's 3 days, August 21, 22, 23. Friday, you got Piercy DeMartini, Sebastian Bach, Lynch Mob, Tuck Smith, who I love. Is your son still playing with Tuck?
No, Nigel. Again, go check out Nigel Dupree. Check out in the last month he's released 2 new singles and videos on YouTube, and he's playing a big show in Nashville, headlining, and I think Tuck's going to go out and see the show this because they're still real tight. But no, Nigel's out. He just couldn't stand it anymore. He had to strap a guitar on and get up in front of that microphone and sing and do what he does. He's around Nashville being good looking. He looks just like his mama or maybe his real daddy. But I pay for him, so I'm gonna keep him.
Yeah, he's a talented kid. He's a good-looking kid for sure. And then, 22nd, you got Bret Michaels, Night Ranger. You're playing Jackal, of course, Lita Ford, and Sunday, Rick Springfield, 38 Special, Warrant, John Waite. So, and there's a bunch more acts too. I'm not hitting them all, but it's great. I did this a couple years ago. You did it a couple years ago. They took a year off. It's great that it's back. People were asking me about it. It's a fun time. It's just a big convention center. They put up a couple stages, and that area, I had never gone to that area of Tennessee, Smoky Mountains, until this thing started happening. And it's a really cool spot. You make sure you don't feed the black bear, but it's pretty cool outside of that. You don't want those bear coming at you.
And that's no joke. You're not just joking about that one, but but it is beautiful. It is so beautiful up in there in Tennessee, and an event. It's a reflection of who runs it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like a dog can tell if you're scared of it or not. The people that come to an event, like in Sturgis, they know that I'm there to hug their neck. I love everybody that comes and stays with us at the Full Throttle Saloon and Pappy Oil Saloon. Same thing with this event. People know Larry comes from an honest place. I mean, the guy spent years and years on the road, probably working with every single one of these bands in their heydays, and whenever things first broke for them. And so, I mean, Larry knows what's up. And so that's why these events are so cool. And they do a lot of other special things around them, including the fact that we're going to be giving away a special meet and greet. I'm going to hand over one of my prize custom Rolling USA guitars, and a chance to go into one of these dealerships and win a motorcycle and trips to some of these cool places. We'll have Sturgis coming up as well. Matter of fact, Rolling Sturgis, you can have a winter trip to Sturgis as part of this. So go to your dealership and register for that, and be looking for the chance to win the VIP for the Mountain Music Fest. Eddie, did I say it right? The Mountain Music Fest. And
you got it.
But Jackal Stock just sounds so much easier, so I'll just stick with that.
Well, it will when you go on stage. That's for sure. That's what it'll be. But yeah, for people that don't know, Larry and his team are the same people that do the Monsters of Rock Cruise, which I host every year, and it's going out in April again this year. So yeah, it's all first class, great stuff, and run by great people, which is also important because I know, Jesse, you feel the same way. Anytime you're going to go in to do something like this, you want to make sure you're working with. We work with a lot of clowns out there. Let's be honest, but this is not one of those cases, and that trickles down to the fan experience too. So that's what's really important. And there's a lot of cool other stuff that goes on around this too. There's vendors and stuff, and it's great. I mean, everybody is really happy that it's back, so it should be a lot of fun. Hey, one last thing before I let you go, I got to ask you, and I'm always sincere about this. Not only do I love your band and I love how real you guys keep it, but I love your bourbon, and your bourbon is phenomenal. And
thank you.
How's that doing for you, man? Any new developments on that front?
Yeah, we just released a new 90 proof. I mean, the regular white label bourbon that we've had out forever is 80 proof, but we just released a new 90 proof Tennessee whiskey that I think makes the best old fashions out there. And then I did make a move and I rebranded the Devil's Devil Cinnamon whiskey, which you've tried that before, but I rebranded it as Jesse James Devil's Devil Cinnamon whiskey. So it's now in the same bottles as Bird, just so that we can be on the shelf beside all of my other bourbons and stuff, and the honey bourbon, the regular, and the spice, that kind of thing. And but it's made all the difference in the world just putting it all into the Jesse James, and I'm just another asshole that got named Jesse James. I mean, we all know the original. we all know the Jesse James that used to rob banks and represents the outlaw in all of us. The people that love to, they bust their knuckles 40, 50 hours a week or more, and when it comes time to throw it down, they want to do it loud, proud, hard, and honest, and they don't want to have to take a second mortgage out for a bottle of great whiskey. And this whiskey belongs to those outlaws, those people that again celebrate that that fundamentals of rock and roll. And I generally find that people, when I say that, and I've shared this with you before, people, when you say we celebrate the fundamentals, whether you like every band on that lineup of Mountain Music Fest or not, we're just celebrating the fundamentals of rock and roll. So just come and get in the middle of it, And people that get it, they'll be there singing along with every word, have the time of their life. And the people that don't get it, those are generally the people that are sitting at home and they don't even want to admit that they masturbate. and it's just, I mean, it's like, what fun is life without masturbating or some rock and roll? So come on to Mountain Music Fest and let's just damn turn it up.
All right, man. Well, listen, I always love talking to you. I love seeing you, and I love having some of your whiskey with you too, man. It's good stuff. There's a lot of guys that sell that stuff. They just throw their name on it. It's not really any good, or just branding thing, but you're legit with it, and it shows. It's really, really good stuff. Say hi to the guys, man, and be safe out there. And I'm sure we'll be connecting soon, and we'll see you in August for sure.
Well, leave your flip-flops in Vegas and put those snow boots on because you're heading back into it.
I know. Trust me, don't remind me, man. I just packed a big winter jacket. I'm like, oh, man, it's 70 and sunny today. I'm like, what am I doing? You're in Georgia. You got nothing to worry about. You're all good.
You know what? I'm in God's country. Y'all have a great day. Crank Eddie, just grab that knob, crank it wide ass old, man. He's got you going on. So I appreciate you guys. Pa-pow.
See you, buddy. Take care, all right? There he goes, the one and only Jesse James Dupree. Always great to visit with him and talk with him. And I'm telling you, man, if you want to see a fun rock show, wherever it is, go see Jackal. It is just raw. It is real, man. We talk about this era of music we're in now where we don't know what's real, what's AI, what's plugged in, who's using amps, who's singing, who's not singing, who's tracks, who's got computers, who's got this, who's got that. These guys plug into buzzing amps and take your head off and just have a blast, man. So anyway, they are added and they are on board for Mountain Music Festival again, August 21 through 23. If you want more information, tickets, etc., the website is The Mountain USA, The Mountain USA. And it's an extensive 3-day lineup, bunch of acts, many of whom I'm sure you love and know, and the stuff you don't know, maybe an opportunity to check out some new stuff. All right, thank you to Jesse for some time. Let's get a break here, and when we come back, we are going to dive more into the two big stories of the day, and I will take your calls on that front as well. Those two big stories being Metallica finally announcing the Sphere residency, making them the first heavy rock band to play that venue. And so that's the good. If you look at the stories of the day here, there's one that's really good, and there's one that's just beyond head scratching and sad and depressing. And the other one would be the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
MLB Network Radio on Sirius XM gets you ready for opening day with a tour of spring training.
The amount of young talent is phenomenal.
Hear interviews with all-stars.
This is Mookie Betts.
I'm Aaron Judge. And insight and analysis of all 30 clubs.
There's nothing wrong with having teams at the top of the sport that you're trying to take down.
Talk baseball with our experts on Channel 89 in the car. And listen to your favorite team's spring training show anytime on the Sirius XM app.
This is an important message for anyone struggling with $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans. Due to ongoing inflation, job loss, and the rising cost of living, many Americans are facing overwhelming credit card balances. If you're drowning in credit card debt, you may qualify for powerful debt relief options currently being offered by National Debt Relief that can significantly reduce what you owe. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a debt consolidation loan. You could qualify for this debt relief option and only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe. Act now to see if you qualify. With thousands of 5-star reviews online and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, National Debt Relief has helped over 1 million consumers with their debt that qualified for this relief option. So don't wait. Call the Debt Reduction Hotline now. Dial 800-885-2288. 800-885-2288. That's 800-885-2288.
500 orders a month was manageable. 5,000 is madness. Embrace intelligent order fulfillment with ShipStation, the only platform combining order management, warehouse workflows, inventory, returns, and analytics in one place. What used to take 5 separate tools, ShipStation does in one. Automate fulfillment and red shopping to ship up to 15 times more with up to 90% savings. Scale like over 1 million others. Go to ShipStation.com/SiriusXM to try ShipStation free for 60 days.
Business owners, time is money. Don't wait weeks for bank approvals. At Delta Capital Group, you can get funding in as little as 30 minutes. Whether you're expanding, upgrading equipment, or covering payroll, we've got you covered. Rated A+ by the BBB, we're the name businesses trust nationwide. Call 855-444-CASH or apply right now at deltacap.com and keep your business moving forward.
I'm Dr. Dino Prado, and I want to thank you for your trust over the years. We've shared stories of hope of those who failed the nation's top hospitals, and we helped them by using N-of-1 precision oncology, advanced immunotherapies, and helped them succeed. And now I'm bringing you the world's latest technology, both in cancer treatment and prevention. Become educated and empowered. Visit Dr. Dino Prado Podcast on YouTube, or visit us at Envita.com, ENVITA.com. We're here for you.
Hi, this is professional golfer Mark O'Mara. When it came to building my personal putting green, I called Celebrity Greens, the leader in customized synthetic golf greens. Celebrity Greens designed an amazing backyard green for me and a synthetic lawn area for my dogs that looks and acts just like natural grass. You can't beat Celebrity Greens' attention to detail and exceptional customer service. Learn how to create a championship putting green in your own backyard. Call the pros at Celebrity Greens, 1-888-507-7960, or visit them online at celebritygreens.com.
Now back to Trunk Nation. If it's hard, heavy, fast, loud, and rocks, you'll hear about it here.
Rock is so far from dead, it's ridiculous.
Trunk Nation.
I don't go a day without getting my Trunk Nation in, just so you know.
On Sirius XM's Faction Talk with your host, Eddie Trunk.
All right, we got another hour left to go here on this Wednesday. Again, tomorrow, all new shows tomorrow and Friday, just not live. Just being upfront with you guys. They're completely new, just pre-recorded. Worked on it all last night. We have the brand new interview with John Taylor of Duran Duran and the Power Station premiering tomorrow. Also coupled with that, a recent interview with Alice Cooper. And then on Friday, the brand new interview with Steve Vai and Joe Satriani together. Some mailbag action, and also the world premiere of the brand new Satch Vai song called Dancing that'll end the show and end the week. So a lot of good stuff tomorrow and Friday. Hope you enjoy it. Next live show is Monday, but again, tomorrow and Friday are all new. Well, tomorrow's 70% new. All right, so mention Metallica, Sphere, October, Thursday, Saturday, 8 shows each Thursday, Saturday of October. This is now official. This is now announced. It had been rumored forever. No repeat Thursdays and Saturdays. If you come in for the weekend to Vegas and you go to both shows, you will get different sets each night, similar to what they did on M72. I am also assuming that there will not be an opening act at Sphere. Obviously, when they did stadiums, there was multiple opening acts. including Wolfgang Van Halen, who was on with us yesterday. I'm pretty sure they will not do opening acts. Come to think of it, none of the music acts that have done Sphere so far have had an opening act. Because, again, it's just not that kind of place. You're going for the whole experience, and, an opening act comes out there and they're not going to have lighting. Because it's not a traditional venue. So it's not a venue that's conducive to a multi-band bill. So I'm sure there's not going to be an opener on these, and they certainly didn't announce that, and it wouldn't make sense. So that is the news regarding Metallica. If you'd like to talk about that, that's all good. But the other news on the other side of the ledger, not so good, is the news that, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has announced their nominees. Now, we just did our snub show, and we just discussed and came up with a list of a lot of deserving rock artists that are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, in some cases have never even been on a ballot. Whether it was Styx or Jethro Tull or Boston or Meatloaf or Jay Giles Band or countless others that are just escaping me at the moment. And we came up with a lot of really great, deserving rock acts that have been snubbed. We just revised the snub list just recently. So now comes the nominees for 2026. And I will run them down for you right now in case you have not seen this. Your nominees are Billy Idol, INXS, Iron Maiden, Jeff Buckley, Joy Division New Order, Lauryn Hill, Luther Vandross, Mariah Carey, Melissa Etheridge, New Edition, Oasis, Pink, Phil Collins, Sade, Shakira, the Black Crowes, and the Wu-Tang Clan. Your first-time nominees of that list are 10. Jeff Buckley, Phil Collins, Melissa Etheridge, Lauryn Hill, INXS, New Edition, Pink, Shakira, Luther Vandross, Wu-Tang Clan. Artists nominated who had been nominated previously and didn't get in: Black Crowes, Mariah Carey, Billy Idol, Iron Maiden, Joy Division / New Order, Oasis, and Sade. So those are the 7 acts who have been on a ballot before, who did not get in, that are being run on the ballot again. Starting with that, Black Crowes, clearly a rock act. Billy Idol, clearly a rock act. Iron Maiden, clearly a rock act. All 3 completely deserving, and it's crazy they're not in already. Mariah Carey, not remotely a rock act. Joy Division New Order, more of an alternative pop new wave thing. Never did I play those songs on rock radio. Sade, kind of easy listening, smooth jazz, certainly not rock. As I've talked about in the past, I have a pretty broad umbrella for rock. And my criteria for what is rock and is not rock is a pretty, I think, one that makes sense, okay? I have been in the rock industry, the rock business, and in rock radio, as you know, since 1983. That makes this my 43rd year professionally working in the business of rock. In that time, all of which I have been on the radio in some capacity, in rock radio, at least 10 of the 17 artists nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year, I have never played in my life. And I have worked. Now remember, when I say that, that's not me saying that from a preference standpoint. That's not me saying that I didn't go get the CD and put it on personally. That much of the time, in all my years doing this, sure, there's portion of each of that time where I had autonomy doing my own show. But for a lot of those years, I did the regular programming of wherever I'm working. I was given a playlist. By the way, that's how it truly works in radio. Most people have nothing to do with what they play that are on the radio. It's done from a programmer. So that's an important distinction because, of course, if I'm doing my own show, I'm not playing these artists. But these artists were never programmed on a playlist in my life on the rock radio format. But as we know, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has thrown out the definition of rock and roll long ago and don't adhere to it at all in any way, shape, or form beyond still keeping it in the name of the organization. When you look at the first-time nominees, certainly can make the case that Jeff Buckley is a rock artist. Was Jeff Buckley a staple of rock radio? No. Was Jeff Buckley an immensely talented artist? Yes. Jeff Buckley, I believe, released 2 albums before his death. Maybe 1. 2, maybe? I know he's working on one. There was a great documentary on Jeff Buckley. Phil Collins, we've talked about repeatedly on this show recently because it was incredible that he was not in as a solo artist. You could make the case way bigger than Genesis. So that is something that came up a lot on the snub list that is now nominated and that we've talked about. Phil Collins on rock radio? A little bit, but Phil Collins more was on top 40 and pop radio as a solo artist. Truly rock radio did not play Phil Collins. Huge and deserving, and I have no issue with it being on here at all. But I'm talking actual rock radio rock. Melissa Etheridge, a little bit of airplay when she first came out. So all 3 of those, I have no issue with. I mean, Jeff Buckley, it's an extraordinarily small body of work, but it was a very impactful record. Phil Collins, not a core rock artist in the true sense of the word, but no problem with that at all, and it should happen. Melissa Etheridge, I'm the only one got a little airplay when it first came out. Not necessarily a core rock artist, but rock. I'm talking rock radio. Not talking pop radio, light rock radio. I'm talking pure rock radio. Melissa Etheridge, I had no problem with. So those 3, no problem with. Of the other first-time nominees, you've got In Excess. I've got no problem there either. That's also come up. We've said In Excess should be there. The rest of it, nothing even resembling rock music in any way, shape, or form. Lauryn Hill is an R&B artist. Same with New Edition. Pink is a pop artist. Shakira is a pop Latin artist. Luther Vandross is an R&B singer. Sure, he sang backing vocals on some Bowie stuff, but not a rock artist by any stretch. Wu-Tang Clan, hip-hop artist. And as the repeat ones that they're running again, we already said Black Crowes, Billy Idol, Iron Maiden, all make sense, deserving, all truly rock artists. Mariah Carey, nothing whatsoever to do with rock. Joy Division, New Order, again, more alternative, new wave, whatever you want to call it, but again, not stuff that got played on mainstream rock radio. And Sade, nothing whatsoever to do with rock. So again, when you count this up, if you are being generous, 7 of the 17 artists nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame are rock. That's being generous. That's saying Phil Collins, Jeff Buckley, Melissa Etheridge, In Excess, Black Crowes, Billy Idol, Iron Maiden. Oh, my bad. Make it 8. Oh, we'll put Oasis there as well. So 8 of the 10. That's being generous. 8 of the 17. So 9 artists, the majority of the artists nominated, never once sniffed rock radio. There's no fabric whatsoever to call them rock artists. And look at all the stuff you're missing. Look at all the stuff that's not there. Look at all the stuff that just came up recently with us on our snub show. That didn't, of course, no Dio. Of course, no Styx. Of course, no Boston. Of course, no Meatloaf. Of course, no Jay Giles. Of course, no Jethro Tull. Of course, no Thin Lizzy. Of course, no Motorhead. I mean, it goes on. You see a trend here? Actual real rock artists. I mean, every time you start to feel like a corner's starting to be turned, and maybe there's some improvement, every time you get smacked right back, a 180 back into oblivion. I don't know what to say anymore about this. I know that a lot of people are wanting me to go crazy, and they love when I go crazy, and they love when I yell and rant and rave and all that. And sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. Like I say all the time, it's never planned, it's never calculated. But the mode I'm in now when I see this is almost of disbelief. And, as a rock fan and somebody who has championed rock my whole life and worked in rock my whole life, it's kind of embarrassing at this point. And it's why, some of these artists have huge indifference with this, or even go so far as saying, I don't want anything to do with it. They're running Iron Maiden again. And yeah, of course, that should happen. But we know Iron Maiden wants nothing to do with this. I told you, last time Iron Maiden was on a ballot, and I had a couple of the guys on, they asked me to not even bring it up. They did not want to talk about it. And I've not seen Let me see if I can find this online. I've not seen if they've put who from the band. I'm clicking right now. Who is being nominated from the band? Oh, yeah, here we go. Here's your nominees. If Iron Maiden were to get in, here's who's going in from the band. Clive Burr, Paul Di'Anno, Bruce Dickinson, Yannick Gers, Steve Harris, Nico McBrain, Dave Murray, Adrian Smith, Dennis Stratton. Who's missing? They have basically included here everyone who's ever been in Iron Maiden, except one person. A guy who sang lead vocals and fronted the band on 2 albums. How the fuck do you put everybody that has ever been in a band in the Hall of Fame except for a guy that sang on 2 albums? As I've said before, you have a situation here where they are inducting with Iron Maiden a guy who played half guitar on 1 record, Dennis Stratton. He was on half of 1 album being included. But a guy who fronted the band and sang lead vocals on 2 albums, Blaze Bayley, is omitted. That's all you need to know about how utterly clueless this is when it comes to rock. I've been screaming about that for 2 years. They still didn't get the memo over there. And by the way, I don't like the albums with Blaze Bayley. Most people don't. But that doesn't mean you don't include a guy who fronted your band for 2 studio albums and a few years of touring and held the fort. How do you do that? How is there any logic there? Do they even know? Now, in some cases, there are times where an artist will whisper and be like, hey, we don't want this person, or the vice versa. Hey, we want this person, you're not putting them. We know Iron Maiden's not doing any of that because they don't even want anything to do with this, period. But should Iron Maiden get in, how on God's earth do you have a situation where they are literally inducting everyone who has ever been in this band but one guy who was only the lead singer on 2 records? How, to me, that just blows any credibility out of the water. I've said this so many times. Everyone understandably debates and goes crazy about what bands do or do not get in, but they never look to that next level. Okay, this band's nominated, they get in. Who from the band is going in? The randomness of that throughout history is as egregious as the nomination process and the induction process. Kiss goes in, it's only the original 4. Okay, you dropped the gate there. Original 4 only. Okay, whether you agree or disagree, okay, we get it. Nobody else got in but the original 4. Bon Jovi goes in, everyone goes in, including the ghost bass player. What? Iron Maiden goes in, everybody gets in, except for the guy that sang on 2 records. What? Black Sabbath goes in, only the original 4, not the guy who sang on 4 studio records. 4, count them, 4. Including, in that case, records that were great and were landmark with Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules. But now pay no attention to that other guy. What is that? To me, that's as ridiculous and sickening and pathetic and random as any aspect of this. How is it not uniform? So even when there is a rock artist and a deserving rock artist, and clearly we are all in agreement Iron Maiden should have been there 20 years ago, it's still flawed. And by the way, they're not in. Just so you know, again, people get this wrong all the time. They think that this list is the people going in. These are the nominees. This is who we vote on, folks. And you know I do my ballot with you on the air. It's going to be real easy when we do the ballot. And we can do it as soon as tomorrow because they've already sent out the ballots. It's going to be real easy this year. Because what do we get? What is it, 5? We get to pick 5 or something like that? If we just pick the actual rock artists, it's easy. Because there's not that many. Like true rock artists on this list: Billy Idol, Iron Maiden, Black Crowes. I mean, if you want to get like really like rock, true rock radio, stuff that really lived on rock radio, stuff that was totally rock dominated, you're looking at Black Crowes, Iron Maiden, which, by the way, did not get rock radio airplay ever and still doesn't, but clearly a rock act, Billy Idol. You know, little bit In Excess, little bit of Oasis, which is more of a modern rock thing. But again, I don't have a problem with any of those bands. I'm just talking like straight down the middle, true rock. There's not much to pick from. What are you going to do? Let's do Pink, New Edition, Wu-Tang Clan, Lauryn Hill, and Luther Vandross. There's your nominee. What? What Hall of Fame is that? Oh, the rock and roll. What? By the way, you know what's hysterical? I'm on their website right now, and after you scroll down the nominees, the next thing up says, new exhibit announced. Paul McCartney and Wings opens May 15th. Paul McCartney and Wings are not in. They're not in. We talked about that. So they're trying to push Pink. McCartney and Wings are not in. How do you even like begin to process this? Oh, man. Look, assuming we still get to vote, because I don't think, to their credit, they haven't thrown me out yet. And I already got the ballot. It's going to be the easiest one. There's no debate. There's literally no debate. What are we going to debate? Say we got 5 picks. I'll tell you right now. Black Crowes, Phil Collins, Iron Maiden, Billy Idol, And the debate for the fifth one will either come from be In Excess, Jeff Buckley, or Oasis. That's it. Because we and I and us are rock fans, right? So if we just stay in the lane of rock as we choose for the Rock Hall of Fame, you're immediately throwing out 10 of these acts because they're not rock. It is just when you think it's unreal. It's unreal. Again, we've always known this thing is so far now removed from rock that it is only rock in name. It's been like that for a very, very long time. And the one takeaway from me with this, beyond the fact that it just when you think there might be some improvement, there isn't. The one thing I will say is this screams even more the need, the unbelievable, glaring need for a Rock Hall of Fame that actually caters to the genre of rock music. A Rock Hall of Fame that actually serves rock. Most of these other genres have Hall of Fames. They have award shows. Rock has nothing else of real substance. So, I mean, but we have to, when we have something called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we have to give up more than 50% of the available spots now every year to music of other genres. Which is why you have a shit ton of deserving rock acts continually snubbed, continually ignored, and which is why when they go in, most of, if not all of the members are dead. Or can't play because they're on their deathbed. I mean, you know, thank God Phil Collins finally showed up. That was something we all talked about during the snub show. Phil Collins has very serious health issues. I mean, who was it that I said this year during the award show that I said they were going to see doing an induction and be like, oh, we should, who was that? I can't remember. So again, folks, it's a cakewalk to do our ballot this year. It's going to be a pretty uneventful show. We'll do that sometime in the next couple weeks. But there ain't nothing going on here in terms of rock music. I mean, yes, there are deserving rock acts on here. I just named them. But the majority of the nominees are not rock acts. Now, people made a case for the Runaways. Yeah, it would be great. Not here. Our phone number is 844-686-5863. If you would like to comment on this or anything in rock music, we will take your calls the rest of the hour right now. Whether it's the... No, Joe, I don't want to go to break. Are you going to break?
I thought you were throwing a break. My bad.
No, I'm going to power right through. I'm too wound up. I'm going to power right through. Plus, I got to catch a plane, so we're going to do the double break at the end. 844-686-5863. Metallica Sphere, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, debacle, embarrassment, whatever you want to say about it. You got my take. Or anything in rock with our last 20 minutes or so here on the show. And your last 20 minutes or so for the week to call in, because, again, tomorrow's shows are all new, just pre-recorded. So after today, live shows return on Monday, but remember, new shows still tomorrow and Friday. Dave in Texas. Go ahead, Dave.
Eddie, I appreciate you being the champion of rock and roll. I really do. I started hating on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when the Spinners got in. I said to my friends, hey, you remember when we used to smoke pot and listen to the Spinners in the woods? No, never happened, right? So my take is, I love your idea to get a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for actual rock and roll acts, but who is going to do that? They've got, if they changed the name of this thing to the Music Hall of Fame, I would have no problem. Nobody's 100%. Blood pressure would raise. Why? 100%. But they've got too... Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it's Paul McCartney and Wings aren't in. I spit out my drink. I just saw Paul McCartney. I saw the movie. And I won't go to the Hall of Fame because of this shit. I love the acts that are in there, but the ones they're putting in, I'm sick of. I can't deal with it anymore. But thank you again for being our voice. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Dave. I mean, I hate that I have to... I appreciate what Dave's saying, but I hate that there needs to be a voice. I hate that there needs to be opposition to this, because you just wish they'd get it right. It shouldn't be that hard. It's not that hard. But when you want to be all things to all people, it becomes a convoluted mess. And as I've said so many times, there has been improvement over the years. Let's remember, there were many years there was no Deep Purple, there was no Cheap Trick, there was no Kiss, there was no Alice Cooper in there. There is now. So you give credit for that, of course, but it shouldn't have taken as long as it did on those acts. There was time, there was no Yes, there was no Rush. There is now. But we just did the snub show. And I think almost every one of those bands so deserving that came up during the snub show, most of them very deserving, are not on the nominees. The ones that are would be Maiden, Billy Idol, Phil Collins. INXS came up a little bit too. But again, when you occupy 10 of your 17 or 9 of your 17 slots with blatantly non-rock music and keep omitting this other stuff, it's crazy. And again, the real tragedy of that is that these deserving acts are unfortunately dying off and can't even be there or participate. Look what just happened with Bad Company. Bad Company should have went in 15 years ago. If they did, you would have had Paul Rogers singing, you would have had Mick Ralphs playing guitar. Instead, Bad Company finally gets in way, way, way too late, and all you got is the drummer. That's it. And nothing against Simon Kirke, but come on. But that's not on Bad Company. That's on the Hall of Fame, cluelessly, blatantly ignoring them for years of eligibility. Now, to his point about, who's going to do it, there has to be a real Hall of Fame. Somebody's got to do it. Look, I have, for about 20 years now, I've kicked the tires on trying to do that. But what I've always said, and I completely agree with, is I am not interested in doing something that's only online, that happens in some club somewhere, that, it's forgotten about 10 hours after it's over, that doesn't have a place that you can physically go and commemorate the artists. There's no process. There's no museum. There's no monument. There are a ton of those. And I'm not disparaging those events. But let's be honest. There's a huge difference between gathering people for an award show or some sort of ceremony somewhere in the country. There's tons of them. I've been involved in some of them. They don't resonate. They're not on TV. They don't have a museum. They don't have the backing. The only way to do something counter to making a real Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is with serious backing, a committee, a physical structure like they have in Cleveland for this to commemorate these artists, a telecast, a real thing. And I'm not interested in being involved in anything like that unless it's of that level. Because then you're just chasing your tail. It's just stupid. It's not stupid. It's fine. But I'm just saying it doesn't mean anything in the big picture to go up against this. Years ago, I had a conversation and at some pretty good meetings with the Hard Rock here in Vegas about doing it there and getting them behind it. I had 2-3 meetings with the top people, and then in the last minute, they kind of got cold feet on it. So, if you got an organization like that, the Hard Rock, who put their money, their muscle, their influence. The Hard Rock is owned by the Seminoles. The entire Hard Rock organization, all the outlets are owned by the Seminoles. They got crazy money. I mean, they're putting up, as we speak, on the Strip here in Vegas, one of those Guitar Tower hotels. You got to see it. It's insane. It's about half up right now. Same like they got in Florida. It's going to change the whole look of the Strip. A gigantic light-up guitar hotel sitting right on the Strip. It's where the old Mirage was. How cool would it be once a year to have a ceremony in that guitar hotel with the Hard Rock behind it and do a true Rock Hall of Fame branded with them and the muscle and money they could bring? That's why I thought of them. But without a partner of that level, it's just you're spinning your wheels. Here's Mark in Florida. What's going on, Mark?
Brother Tron, love your show, man. Thank you.
Hey, man. Thank you.
I want to change the subject a little bit. I got a few things for you. The first one is I didn't hear anybody mention Gilmore for the Double Threat. Thought he was a great singer and a monster drummer.
Okay, good one.
All right. So I just want everybody to know the new Megadeth album is phenomenal. Get it, everybody. It is great. And I wanted to let you know about the doc on Netflix, Miracle, The Boys of 80. It just came out. It's about the 80 hockey team. It's a phenomenal documentary. You'll love it. It's great. It's got the whole team.
Good timing on that with the current U.S. team having just won, and the women's team won too, which I didn't realize until the other day. So I didn't really follow the Olympics, so that was awesome.
Yeah, check it out. You'll love it. Hey, I wanted to ask you about Kate Hudson because I saw the movie Song Sung Blue, and I'm a huge Neil Diamond fan. That was my mom's favorite. I grew up listening to Neil Diamond, love Neil Diamond. I don't know if you've seen the movie, but Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson sing and play all the instruments in that movie. Did you know that?
No. I knew it was a biopic on Neil Diamond, but it kind of came and went pretty quick. I'm expecting it to probably be on streaming very, very soon, so I'll watch it when it is. As a matter of fact, I got a 5-hour plane ride in about an hour, so maybe it'll be on the plane.
It's on Prime, but I wanted to... Did you know Kate when she was married to...
Chris Robinson?
Yeah, Chris.
No,
Chris.
I didn't.
No. I wonder if they did anything together. She's a phenomenal singer. You got to see the movie. It's pretty cool, and I recommend it to everybody. Even if you not a huge Neil Diamond fan, it's pretty amazing what Hugh and Kate do in the movie musically. So,
well, that was kind of... Yeah, thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. That's kind of similar to A Star Is Born, where Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga... Well, you knew Lady Gaga could actually sing the stuff, but Bradley Cooper, I'm pretty sure, actually sang and played in that movie as well. So that was, that was an impressive performance from him on the music side. I heard an interview with Bradley Cooper when on Howard, and Howard asked him, like, did you ever consider going after a music career since you could do it? He just really didn't have any interest. It's amazing to have that kind of talent and not have any interest in actually playing music. But I guess when you're also, good-looking Hollywood actor, your plate's pretty full. Good problem to have. Here's Jill in Virginia. Go ahead, Jill.
Eddie, hi. I'll try to be quick here. I did want to touch on the Rock Hall thing just quickly, but I don't want to make it the whole meat of the conversation. But when I saw the list this morning, I was brushing my teeth, and I literally spit my toothpaste out. It's kind of become a joke year after year. I'm not going to name specific names, but there's a couple on there that are just head scratchers, really head scratchers. And
more than half of it. More than half of it is
merit. Yeah, it's like I thought it was supposed to be based on merit and impact, and I think you know what I'm talking about, and most of your listeners do too. So, and I'm actually a person that's a member of the Rock Hall. I enjoy going there. I've been to 2 of the live induction ceremonies, one that you were at where Kiss was inducted. It was fabulous, and I honestly think that might be one of the last really good induction ceremonies that I have seen or experienced. So,
Jill. Yeah, I mean, look. Again, and thank you, Jill. Even if you're being generous here, 50% of this, and that's being very generous, at least half is not rock. And again, you just think of all of these deserving acts that are on the sidelines and eventually, just like Bad Company, just like Foreigner, oh yeah, let's do that. Well, Foreigner, you got no Mick Jones. Bad Company, you got nobody but Simon Kirke. I mean, come on. So keep leaving Boston off, and God forbid something happens to Tom Scholz. And then in 5 years from now, we're going to commemorate Bad Company, Boston, for their amazing breakthrough record, the technological advances. It sold 12 million. It's a classic rock staple. Here to accept for Tom Scholz is his son, or I don't even know if he has kids, but you know what I'm saying. It's sickening. Evan in Florida. Hi, Evan.
Hey, Eddie. Hey, I'm going to name some quick snubs just to get them off my mind. I've been trying for a while. 10 Years After, Alvin Lee. Humble Pie, Robin Trower. Nazareth, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Al Cooper's Super Session. What a phenomenal album. A lot of these are posthumously inducted, probably, but
yeah, because they waited forever. Yeah, to my point that I just made, Evan, because they shunned all that. They continue to shun all that stuff. Instead, let's push Pink. Let's get Pink. What? What?
Yeah,
what?
Right.
Nothing against Pink. She's a talented pop artist. She's a talented singer. She's a stadium act, but she's a pop act. Thank you, Evan. I'm just moving quickly to get as many people in as I can here. Like what? I mean, you couldn't make it up. You couldn't make it up. Oh, man. Here's John in North Carolina. Hey, John, go ahead.
Hey, Eddie, I love you getting worked up, man. I've been listening for years and forever, and I just love how you get worked up on this because I do too. And I've said this before because I've called in a ton. I can't stand the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but I had to call in on a couple snubs, and actually I have one more I wanted to add to it if that's cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Robert Plant.
Yeah,
never been considered solo. Ever.
That came up. When we did the snub show. For his solo career, absolutely, 100%.
Okay. David Byrne from Talking Heads. I know the call screener kind of disagreed with me on that one, but his catalog is so deep and so long post Talking Heads. American Utopia was massive. He should definitely be in as a solo artist, in my opinion. And then I got thinking, and I can't believe I didn't bring this up right from the first, but Kansas.
Yeah.
How is
Kansas came up.
Not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with their catalog? And you know what it is. We know why they get snubbed. But they better start doing that shit quick because there's only a few of them left, like you said. So I just don't understand their thought process. And, man, if you could get with Hard Rock into a Hard Rock Hall of Fame, whatever they want to use to market that, dude, you'd be onto something, and then you would be ready to retire going, look at what I did.
You know, I'll tell you, John, given that, and I don't know if I can open this whole world up again, and I will try when I get a chance to breathe here, but and thank you, John. And a lot of the acts you mentioned did come up in our snub show. I don't know if the snub show is still on the app when we did it. It's a couple weeks ago, but a lot of it was there. A lot of the people you mentioned are there. But look, I don't know. I used to have some friends that were pretty high up in the hard rock world. I could revisit with them and see. I mean, given that they're opening this thing on the Vegas Strip, which is going to be like a centerpiece. I mean, if you go down the Vegas Strip right now, again, that guitar is half up. All the windows are out of what was the Mirage. They're completely redoing the building and the rooms. I think it's going to open sometime next year. There's obviously going to be a big entertainment space in there. I mean, what better place to do a true rock Hall of Fame than in a place where the building is literally a Les Paul? And you've got the weight and the power and the money and the resources globally of the hard rock. I mean, to me, I had that idea 20 years ago. I had meetings about it. Problem, too, when you deal with casinos, and I found this firsthand because I've had a couple close things happen with some casinos here, there's a lot of turnover at those casinos sometimes. You'd be talking to somebody, and they're all ready to do it, and the next day you find out they're gone, like they were let go, and they went to another job or they're out. So I'm finding that out a lot, too. Here is John in Ohio. Go ahead, John.
Eddie, I agree with everything that you're saying and the callers about the wrong artist, the wrong genre. But I think you'd find the answer to why these artists are showing up on the ballots if you follow the money. Obviously, pop music and hip hop and rap and R&B, they draw a lot more of the population than true rock and roll music does. So I think if you took all those artists out, I don't know if they would have the money to survive. And I think that's why you probably see those artists in there. That's just my perspective.
No, I mean, John, respectfully, I don't agree. Because when you look at what draws people, and thank you, John, one of the top drawing genres of music live is still rock music. It's not, I mean, and we had a stat at the end of the year. There was a stat, some research company, rock was like number 2 or 3 overall. In terms of genres. And when you look at so hypothetically, if you look at what's a draw on this list of people, the people that really sell tickets and draw a big amount of people, whether you like it or not, Shakira is a stadium act. Oasis stadium act, that's rock. Pink stadium act. Iron Maiden arena/stadium, depending upon where in the world. And that's about it. You know, in excess, Michael Hutchence is no longer alive, obviously. So, you know, there is absolutely, and you're correct in saying that there is absolutely a component to this where remember that this is a ticketed event in an arena that they have to sell. So there's no doubt that is a consideration because although I believe this is a nonprofit organization, they still need to sell 10, 15,000 tickets when they do the live event. You know, I think ever since the telecast moved off of HBO, at least to me, it's not nearly as impactful because it's, you know, live on streaming, then it's on New Year's Day one time. It's like, you know, HBO used to be on a loop for like 3 months. Any of your random HBO channels, you'd go there. I know it's changed. I know a lot of people don't even have cable anymore. Some do, some don't, but I'm just saying. So that's a consideration too. But I feel like there's something to be said for what you're saying, but I don't think that's the driver. I think the driver is the need to want to be all things to all people of all genres of music. Despite the name of this, they want to be all things to all people. And whether that's just because it's their mantra, whether it's because of the draw of different fans, make your own conclusions what that's about. But there is a concise decision here to be more inclusive of every kind of artist in music than there has ever been. And by the way, this shouldn't come as a surprise because the guy who oversees this whole thing, a guy named John Sykes, not to be confused with the John Sykes guitar player who sadly passed away, totally different guy, obviously. He did an interview when he got this job. We read it. And all he kept talking about in that interview is we're going to be more inclusive to all kinds of music than ever. So he said this is what he was going to do with it. And it's clearly played out. Now, you still got a committee of people that make up this ballot. And what the mix of those people are and why this stuff is coming up versus other stuff is also part of it. But, you know, it's a myriad of problems when it comes to, you know, Gene Simmons got all kinds of shit lately for saying, you know, there's so much stuff in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that's not rock. I mean, what Gene said, he may have not said it in the right way, but he's not wrong. You know, all anybody that is a rock artist or fan wants is something dedicated to their genre. You know, we don't see Iron Maiden being nominated at the, you know, hip hop awards. Why? Why can't rock have its thing? So that these guys could be properly celebrated and honored in a timely fashion while they're still above ground. Shouldn't be that big of an ask. Remember, tomorrow, John Taylor, Power Station, Duran Duran, Alice Cooper Encore. Friday, brand new also, Satch Vai, world premiere of a new Satch Vai song, and some of your emails. I'm out of time for today. I thank you for listening. As I said, next two shows are next two shows are new, just not live. Back taking your calls again, back live on Monday. Headed to Boston tonight. I'll see you at the Lansdowne Pub tomorrow night.